So first vlog of the new year. Happy New Year to everyone. Back to work, unfortunately, although we've worked anyway, been doing the unit and whatnot. So lot going on at the beginning of the year, a lot of engines to get ready for racing, hopefully pick up the motor for the crank grinder. In between Christmas and New Year I've had to have front brakes fitted on my Transit, so thanks to Carl Christa down in Andover for doing that for me. Drive so much better now. I had a lot of brake judder and that's all gone. So next thing I'm going to do is ring up the people that I got the motor from a crank grinder, because I'm getting desperate for that to be fixed and up and running. Today I'm just putting this BMW diesel bottom end together. This come in for measurement and inspection on some of the bits on the engine, which I've done that and it all seems to measure fine. The E-Type Jag, I've got to get some bits out the acid. This is a new front plate for this E-Type. I need to put the old front plate on, and then I've got to skim the block to get this flat. It's bored, I've got to hone it. So today I'm starting to machine this Cosworth YB engine. It's done on a 205 block, which is different casting numbers. You get 205, 200, based on a Ford Pinto. You get a small core plug 205, which is an IS 500 block. So this is just a normal Cosworth two-wheel drive 205 block. I've stripped the engine down, measured it all. So the first job I've got to do is just set the boring bar up to bore the block out to accept the new pistons. So that's the first job. I've already set the tool. So it's in drive. This is the first bore, so I'll do this bore first, then set the depth on this, so it on the other bores it comes down and it'll switch that off to switch the machine off. This is a Van Norman 944 boring bar. I have two of these. One of them's just being repaired at the moment, but I am just buying a big boring machine as well for doing the blocks. And I'll video this whole Cosworth going together. This is it's out of a 3-door Cosworth, which had a bit of a problem. It was a built engine in the first place, but it had an oil pressure problem, so it's destroyed a conrod, crankshaft, and a few other bits and bobs. So I've had to find another crank for this. So I'll video the whole engine going back together and the cylinder head. I've got to tidy the head up because it was gas flowed by another company and they haven't done a very good job of parts of it. So I need to tidy all that up to make it right. These are the pistons that are going in it. These are Woosner or Vosner or however you pronounce it. So this is the Ford 3-door Cosworth Sierra Cosy YB engine. I bought it to the size of the piston minus its clearance. So there's about 3 thou for me to hone out of this. So what I'm going to do now is quickly just reface the head surface to get that nice and flat, and then that'll be going into the honer. So that's the Cosy block all refaced. That's a nice smooth finish because it's going to be running a Cometic steel head gasket. The one thing I did notice as it was making its pass is number 2 cylinder has got a liner in it. Now I've had a couple of Cosy blocks before in the past crack the bore, and I've had to fit a liner before, so it's not something that's unusual, but I'm going to let my customer know that he has got or had a problem with that in the past, just in case another one goes. The Cosy engine, that's all bored honed, washed, sorry, bored honed, skimmed, that's got to go in the wash. And then I've got some other bits and bobs to do for a YouTuber who's got a really good channel called Restore It. He sent a BM engine down to be acid bathed and then have some machining done on it, so I'm going to film that going into the acid today. And also I've got a V8 engine here which is out of an AMC. That's got to go in the acid, so I've got to debung that today, so I'll film that too. See you later. So this little lot here is for Steve at Restore It, another YouTube channel. I'm going to do some machining on this for him. He's going to come down and film the machining, but initially he just wants me to clean the bits off in the acid, so I've got everything ready. He's already dropped one engine off, the same, which I've acid bathed that already, but a lot of it is worn out and no good. He only wants to do a basic recondition on it himself, not a complete job where it's reboring it and everything. So he found another lump that got dropped off just before Christmas, so I'm going to put it in the acid. So there's the acid bath. I try not to go in it very often because I can never get no sleep on the following night because I don't know what's in it, but it's strong. That's a case of just popping everything in. That's the block in, crank next. So that's it, that's everything now in the acid bath, all the BM bits. The eagle-eyed people will notice the crank there, that's definitely not BMW. That's out of an AMC, which is the next load of stuff to go in the acid. But the acid bath's full now, so I'm going to let that pickle in there for a few hours. So this is the AMC block before it goes in the acid. I've got to quickly take the core plugs out, one of them's hanging out anyway. I'm going to take out these oil gallery bungs. I mean, the acid's not going to remove the rust, but the customer wants it to go in the acid. It will take all the old oil and crud off, and then it's just a case of manually trying to get the rust off. He's given me the pistons and rods to do. I'm not sure why. I'm hoping it's just to clean the rods up because the pistons are scrap. One of them, I don't know if that's showing that, one of the pistons has got a crack in it. The crank I've lifted down there. The cylinder heads, I'm going to strip them so the acid can do the work around there. But as you can see, they're in a bad way. So I'll get them stripped, I'll get them in the acid. So a job that's coming for a regular injector customer today is this bag filled with injectors to recondition. So the first thing I'm going to do is clean the outer part of the injector, which I'll do on one of my other ultrasonic baths, which is just here. So I'm going to switch that on and let that get up to temperature, and then what I'll do is I'll record the rest of it all being sorted out. There we are. So the ultrasonic is warming up. I'll let that get up to temperature, then switch that on. I'm going to quickly wash my pots and wash my hands, and then go and grab some lunch with the body shop next door. So the Jaguar injectors that I put through the separate ultrasonic, I've had 3 or 4 hours in there to get the bodies all nice and clean, which it's done that really well. So what I'm going to do now is I can only run 8 injectors at a time. So before I take the filters out, I'm going to run them through the machine. I take a recording of how well they flow and what the spray pattern's like and the impedance, and then pop the filters out, run them through the ultrasonic as the injectors are firing, and then retest them. As I'm doing so, I'm going to check to make sure all the O-rings are fine with no splits in them. So to run them on the machine, there's a few settings that I have to put into the machine, and it has to have these adapters fitted. So I'll pop the 8 of those on first. And I'll just lift this up and just put the details into the machine. So they're a standard injector. There's 8 of them to test. I'm going to run them for 30 seconds. So the machine's now all ready to do the first run. So the first thing to do is connect the pressure pipe to the fuel rail, or the test rail I should say. And then bring the clamp down. This is a new style, as new injector clamp. The original one had thumb screws up here, which was fine, it was good, but it was a bit slower to do a test on a set of injectors, where now they've put these quick clamps on. So that is a brilliant feature that they've done. The one thing I will say about Asnu as a company, they're always looking to improve their machine. Not that it needs much improving, but they're always doing things to make the job better. So that's it, that's the test harness all fitted up. So the first thing it's going to do is prime the injectors. It gives me opportunity to set the fuel pressure, which I'm going to run these at 3 bar. And as we can see straight away, they're in a bit of a state, the injectors. So this test here is a leak test. So what that is doing, that's firing, that's building the fuel pressure up, but not firing the injector. And as you can see, injector 8 and injector number 5 on here are leaking. Injector 8's leaking quite bad, and injector 5, there we go, it's just leaked again. So straight away we have a problem with these injectors. And then we go on to the next test, which is impedance. This one injector here is not firing. So what that probably is just the needle stuck. So if I just give the body a little tap, normally they spring back to life. But that one isn't. That's not good. Moment, that injector there, number 4 is it, I think? Yeah, number 4 isn't firing, it isn't doing anything. So I'm going to have a look at that. But the first thing I want to do before I do look at that is to just run a quick flow test. So this runs for 30 seconds. Each one of these test tubes is individually calibrated, and this will give us an idea. What we're looking for is the penetration of how powerful the spray is going into the test tube when it builds up some of the fluid, and to see the delivery, to see that we're getting the same delivery. So there we are, we've got 48, 49, 49, nothing coming out of number 4, 47, 50, 48 and 49. So what we can do is fill in one of these forms, and you can put the customer detail in these, injector details and all that. So the next thing to do is to We'll pull the filters out of them, and I'm going to have a good look at that number 4 to try and get that to work. So what I'll do is I'll continue doing that on time lapse. What I'm going to show is the filter. So in the end of this injector is a tiny little Gould's filter. So with one of these special tools we can screw that onto the injector, and then with a slight pop it presses out the, or pushes out the, or even pulls out the filter, and then a pair of pliers just to unscrew them. I mean, that one there, which is the faulty injector, the actual filter looks quite clean, but they're all coming out, they're all getting replaced. What's also good is once you've got it out, you can give the injector a little tap upside down, and sometimes you can see like little bits of dirt and debris and rust that have made it past the filter somehow, which I don't know how, because you can barely see the filter, never mind anything else. What I'll do is I'll just put that in the ultrasonic, and then hopefully that might start to get it working. Yeah, I think that clicking noise that we can hear is the injector just starting to come to life now. So with a bit of luck we'll be able to save that. And while that's while they're starting to clean, I'll pop the filters out of each injector. And then one by one add them into the ultrasonic, and then what the ultrasonic runs for 10 minutes, but I'll probably run them 2 or 3 times to know that I'm getting a really good clean. That's it, that's them now all in the ultrasonic. This is on the slow setting. There's 5 minutes left of this, and then what I'm going to do is put it in auto, which cycles it through slow, fast, really does a good job of cleaning. All the filters are out, they all look quite clean. The injector that wasn't working is now definitely injecting. So the injectors are now back into the test feature. The injector that wasn't working before is now working, but the spray pattern is completely different to the others. So I don't know if that's going to be any good. I'm going to flow test it and see what it looks like in the machine. So straight away you can see that the injector just isn't penetrating the same as the other 7 injectors. So this injector, I'll keep running it to try and improve it, but this probably won't be going back in service. So flow rate wise they're all around the 50 mark again, so I'll fill the form in properly, but the injector that wasn't working is now working, but it's only flowing 46. So I'm going to keep that one aside, and I'll keep having a go to try and recover it, but these ones now just need refiltering and bagging because they're all done. The spray pattern's improved, and if I run it up at different engine speeds, the actual spray pattern on the 7 is perfect. That's cranking. That's 5,000 RPM. So it's just that number 4 injector still what's not cleaning up so good. So, but I'll keep trying. I'm going to do the next set now. So So I thought I'd show you the filters that go inside the injectors. They're just a tiny little plastic micro filter, and then they just press into the end of the injector. So I thought I would just show this filter here. I don't know if it's actually showing up too good. Put that behind it maybe. But that's one set of filters been popped out, and I'm three injectors into the second set, and then one of the filters is randomly just absolutely filled with rust at the bottom of it, and you can see the rust all the way around there. So I don't know if it's going to affect the flow of the injector. We'll test that in a moment, but that just goes to show you can't take anything for granted and think that just because one set was good that they're all going to be good. That is just one random filter which is no good. So this is the second set of injectors that I'm testing, and straight away 3 of them was jammed, which I've managed to get going again, although the spray pattern doesn't look very good at all. So we'll see what they flow like. They should be identical to the last set, which basically got up to about 50 millilitres in the chambers. So we'll see how far these are. Straight away, the ones that was working, one took this, they're all spraying quite nice and penetrating the fluid nice. This one's barely. This one's getting better, but definitely them two there's no real penetration with them, so hopefully the ultrasonic will sort that problem out. Flow wise they're all pretty good, apart from number 2, which is only flowing 46, but they're all around the 50s. Give them a couple of goes in the ultrasonic like we did the first set and see what that does. The second set, which has been through the ultrasonic, and the spray pattern's completely improved on them. It's also penetrating the fluid evenly across all 8 injectors. So as long as these are flowing 50 or a bit more and all equal, then this is a good set. So I'll just put new filters in them. Yeah, so the one that was low before has now come back up too. So this set's now good to go. I'm going to put a new set of filters in these as well, and then just run the final 8. So that's all 24 injectors now done, ready to give back to the customer. The 2 that was faulty have come back to life as well, so they're all flowing perfectly. So this is the A series engine, which is for an MG midget, I believe. This come in for debunging, decore plug-in. So these are the oil gallery bungs. That's a new one in there. Decore plug-in, going through the acid, hone, reface, and that's it. So the reason for this video is I was just going to show you the difference between 2 A series blocks. So the same block in theory, but they use different core plugs, and also they're different CC. So this is an 1100cc, what uses something called a saucer style core plug, which looks like that. That's an 1 5/8" saucer style core plug. These are supplied by Simon at Nevlock, so I get my bits from. And then the other style is just a normal cup style core plug, which looks like that. So the difference between the block is this block has a machined face, what the core plug sits in. This block is just a hole that's bored into it, and these core plugs have got a taper on this part here, so we Loctite them in. Whoops, drop that one. We'll Loctite or ceramic them in, and then they're hit flat in there till they're flush, nice and neat. It's really important to clean up this face here, because then whatever you use, whether it be Loctite or ceramic, you need that to be nice and clean so it grips. On this saucer style, what I'm using in this to lock these ones in is a Loctite which doesn't go soft when it gets warm, unlike some Loctites. And then the idea with this is, like I said, make sure it's nice and clean. And then, as you can see, they fit in there, but they spin, so you have to lock them in. So the idea with these is to lock them in, you just hit them flat, you get rid of this dome. That's a better hammer. Number 2 done. There we are, all complete. So that's all ready now for my customer to build it, paint it. New core plugs in the side. If I tip it up on its end, there's a new core plug in the rear. I put 2 new oil gallery bungs in it. It's all been through the acid. So that's all ready for him now. He just needs to come and collect it and all his engine bits, and then he can continue building it. So a block that I've got in today is this A Series Plus engine. This is coming for acid bath, new core plugs, new gallery bungs which are now in, rebore, block face, clean up the bottom end of the block, new cam bearings, and the cylinder head also. So the cylinder head is a modified cylinder head what I've converted to lead free. The valves was all destroyed in it, so I've got a brand new set of valves. I put a brand new set of guides in it and honed them out. So this just needs the manifold face cleaning up. Then that's got to go in the wash for the rest of the day and then built up. With the block, there's the new core plugs. So I've put 3 new core plugs in the side, 2 new core plugs on the rear, 4 new oil gallery bungs which are here because I've cleaned all the oil gallery bungs out. So what I'm doing now is I'm fitting, or I'm knocking the old camshaft bearings out with this tool here, and then 2 of the bores, so cylinder number 1 and cylinder number 4, had quite deep corrosion in it. So boring it out hasn't cleared the corrosion. The 2 centres are okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue boring this now to fit 2 of these liners, which you just order these off the internet by size. So these turned up about half an hour ago. So I'm going to finish knocking the cam bearings out, then flick it over, stick it back on my shopping trolley, ready to bore it out. So this is the A Series block that I've got to put 2 liners in. The first one I've got in, I've pressed it to the bottom, and there's just that much that I need to reface off it. So the second one's just about ready to go in. So I've put plenty of ceramic around it. In fact, I'll put a bit more around it and all. And then I just get the liner into position and then just start to tap it. So now it's just a case of using the press to press it in. And that's it, liner's in. I just need to skim the block now and then bore it to size. So that's the liner all pressed in. This is the underside of it, what it looks like. So I just need to wipe this ceramic off that's come through. And then the last thing that I need to do is just machine this part out here. This is for the distributor drive. So I'm just going to machine that out so it's all level with the block. And I'm just going to use a die grinder for that. So that's all the bottom of the block machine now, they're cut out in for the distributor drive. So now I'm going to reface the top of the block and then just finish boring it. So that's the cam bearings in the A Series cylinder head, block even. The liners are in, I've bored it to size. I've put a nice chamfer on the edge of the bore, so I've got to hone it. I've had to remove a broken stud out of this camshaft retaining plate. So I've put a helicoil in that. So the next thing the customer wants me to do is convert the block to 11 stud. So the easiest way to do that is to use a cylinder head, because it's already drilled for 11 stud. So I screw 2 studs in and then one in the centre, because that's the one that keeps the head tight. That's a tighter hole in the cylinder head. And then the tape is just to stop the head surface and the block surface getting scratched, because they're both finished. Then drop the block onto the cylinder head onto the top of the block like that. Then bolt the block down onto the mill, and then just spot face the block just to give it a good centre to where I need to drill. So that's that spot faced, so now I can see where I need to drill. There and there. So now I can just de-stud it, put the studs back, and then drill and tap it on the mill to keep the threads nice and square. So that's the block all 11 studded now. It's all drilled, tapped. I've cleaned the other threads out, give them a nice little chamfer as well just to finish it off. I've got to hone it, put it through the cleaner, and this is done. So that's the block all honed. It's been through the wash. I've converted it to 11 stud. I had a nightmare with this one here, the tap snapped, but it's fixed. Got the liners in it, or 2 liners, one on cylinder 1 and one on cylinder 4. There's the cylinder head all done for him. That's lead free converted, new guides, new valves. That was the other block that I put cam bearings in. I put cam bearings in this one too, core plugs and oil gallery bungs. I put cam bearings in this one for him. So that's the end of this vlog. I've been down the unit today with the boys, working on the workshop, doing some plastering and whatnot. So thanks for watching, everyone. If you could hit the subscribe button and hit the alert bell at the bottom, that really helps too. And I'll see you on the next vlog. Take care, see ya.